Today, we're diving into the hidden engine of the modern global economy, the digital connections that let companies work across borders like they're all in the same room.
So, have you ever really stopped to think about that? How can a team in New York brainstorm in real time with developers in Poland and a support center over in the Philippines? Well, the answer is this powerful mix of smart strategy and incredible technology. Let's break down exactly how it all works.
All right, to really wrap our heads around this, we first need to get a handle on the two big ideas that make this whole global office possible. First, the strategy, which is outsourcing, and second, the tech that brings it all to life. At its heart, outsourcing is a really simple concept. It's just when one company hires another person or company to handle certain jobs. And this can be anything really, from accounting and IT support to customer service or even designing a product. It might start as a way to cut costs, but it's become so much more strategic than that. And this is the magic ingredient: information and communication technology, or ICT for short. Think of it as the whole digital ecosystem that makes this possible. We're talking about the internet, all the software, the cloud platforms, basically all the tools that make borders and geography almost, well, irrelevant. Okay, so let's get a little more specific. How exactly does this technology make thousands of miles between team members just disappear? I think this is the perfect way to look at it. ICT really does act like a nervous system for a global company. It zaps information instantly from the brain at headquarters to every limb of the company, no matter where it is on the planet. And that allows for perfectly coordinated, real-time action. It all really boils down to these three things. They are the absolute lifeblood of a global operation. You've got to be able to talk to each other instantly, you need to work on the exact same documents at the exact same time, and you have to trust that all your sensitive company data is flying across the globe safely. If any one of these breaks down, the whole system just falls apart. And this just shows the incredible revolution we've all lived through. It wasn't that long ago that working globally was super slow, crazy expensive, and just clunky. Now, instead of waiting days for a package to arrive, you just share a link on Google Drive. Instead of a wallet-busting international call, you just hop on a Zoom. The delay is just gone, and what's left is pure, efficient teamwork. So now we can see how these building blocks create one of the most powerful economic forces on the planet. Why on earth do companies take on all the headaches of managing global teams? Well, the answer is simple. The strategic advantages are just huge. Just get a load of that number. In 2022 alone, the market for services delivered digitally was worth nearly $4 trillion. To put that into perspective for you, that is bigger than the entire economy of Germany. This isn't some tiny niche strategy. This is a fundamental part of the modern world, making up more than half of all services exports. And this chart from the World Bank just tells the story perfectly. See that steep blue line? That's digitally delivered services. Its growth has absolutely dwarfed the growth of physical goods. We are living in a service-based, digitally connected world, and believe me, this trend is only picking up speed. So what in the world is driving this explosion? Well, it boils down to four really powerful perks for businesses. First, you've got massive potential for cost savings on things like labor and operations. Second, you get access to a global talent pool. You can hire the absolute best person for the job, no matter where they live. Third, you can set up these 24/7 follow-the-sun operations, where work just gets seamlessly passed from one team to the next across time zones. And finally, it lets you get a sharper focus on your core business by handing off essential but secondary tasks. The famous management guru Peter Drucker had this line that just nails the whole philosophy. It's all about strategic focus, right? Why would you have your best people managing payroll when they could be inventing your next big product? Outsourcing lets a company focus all its energy and money on what it's truly good at. And hey, this isn't just some abstract business theory. We're talking about companies you know and use every day. Think about Slack. When they were just starting out, they outsourced their app design, which helped them launch way faster. Or look at Airbnb. They rely on outsourced customer support to help their global users 24/7. Even giants like Nike and Alibaba use outsourcing to get specialized IT talent and to power their huge platforms. But of course, it's not all perfectly smooth sailing. Trying to manage a team that's scattered all over the planet, that comes with its own unique and pretty significant set of challenges. Just the logistical nightmare of trying to schedule one meeting across a 12-hour time difference is just the beginning.
Beyond that, you've got to navigate all these subtle cultural differences in how people communicate. You have to secure sensitive data that's being accessed from half a dozen countries. And you have to make absolutely sure the quality of the work is identical, whether it's done down the hall or halfway around the world.
So, to manage all these risks, companies get strategic. They have to decide between nearshoring and offshoring. For example, if a project needs really tight real-time collaboration, a company might nearshore it to a neighboring country with a similar time zone. But if the number one goal is saving the most money and tapping into a huge global talent pool, well then offshoring to a more distant country is often the choice, even if it's more complicated. It's always a trade-off, really, between convenience and cost. And this entire landscape is always moving, always changing. The technologies and the strategies that we're using today, they're really just the foundation for what's coming next. Think about it this way. If ICT created the first huge wave of modern outsourcing, AI is creating the second. It's already starting to automate even more complex jobs, from customer service chatbots to AI-powered analytics that optimize entire supply chains. And that is going to fundamentally change what gets outsourced and how it gets done. So, looking ahead, what can we expect? Well, we're going to see AI get baked into pretty much every outsourced process. We might see technologies like blockchain being used to create these super secure, self-executing contracts between companies. And for sure, the trend of hiring highly specialized people for remote contract work is only going to get bigger.
And all of this leaves us with one last really fascinating question. When your coworkers are people you've never actually met in person, people who are spread across 3 continents and connected only by screens and software, what does that do to our whole idea of a team or a company or even a workplace? The technology has given us the connection, sure, but it's really up to us to figure out the culture of this new global office.